Hey there everybody, this is Brian Fink from the Church of the Resurrection with a word from the DCC. I hope you all had a blessed Easter, and I'm happy to be back with you. So today in 3 minutes, I'm going to try to talk about the goal of arguing, or why arguing is important, and why it's actually good, and why people are so horrible at it. Man, I tell you, I've been doing these videos for a few weeks now, 8 weeks or something, and I've just discovered that some of the dumbest people in the entire world are on the internet. Or maybe it's the case that when people are on the internet, they say the dumbest things. And that's an important distinction, which is one of the things I want to talk about. Arguing is a good thing, as long as you understand the definition of an argument. And maybe that's the biggest problem. Maybe that's the issue that we're facing above all else, is that we assume that when people argue, it really just is a result of a bitter disagreement that only is composed of yelling and screaming, and whoever yells the loudest and demeans the other person the most is the winner. And that's kind of what arguing looks like today on the internet, in politics, in the media. I'm just going to make this person look horrible. I'm going to discredit them as far as I possibly can, and that way I'll win, and I'll be the good one. Well, you should all know that's a logical fallacy called an ad hominem fallacy, which means I'm not interested in that person's argument. I'm going to win by discrediting that person. And that's just no way to go, because the truth is the truth is the truth, no matter the source. To take from Thomas Aquinas, who also is attributed this idiom or this adage with regard to arguments, and that is, never deny, seldom affirm, always distinguish. Always distinguish. So there's a difference between the dumbest people in the world are on the internet, and when people are on the internet, they say dumb things. The challenge is realizing that a lot of people can't make that distinction. They assume when I say, you say dumb things, that I'm saying you are a dumb person. But that's not true. I'm just saying that a smart person is capable of saying dumb things, especially in the heat of the moment, in the heat of an argument, when it's emotionally charged, and it's concerning things that people feel so strongly about. And so often that's the kind of interaction that you end up having, especially on the internet. People are so charged, they're so emotional about things, and there's this element of anonymity that allows them to say whatever they want without any real backlash. I mean, at the very worst, people get unfriended, which means what? Nothing, really. Especially with Facebook selling all of our information to everyone. We're all friends everywhere, and especially with Cambridge Analytica. But I digress. If you want to have a good argument, there's a couple of things that you have to have in play. If you really want to come to a knowledge of the truth, which is the goal of an argument, surprisingly. It's not about winning. It's not about being right. It's not about putting the other person down or making yourself superior. It's about coming to a knowledge of the truth. And if you want to do that, you got to play by the rules. Just like in a science experiment, there are certain conditions that have to be met in order for that experiment to be valid. So too with an argument. So I'm going to give you a couple. First, as I said already, it's not about winning. It's not a game. It's not a contest. It's a thought experiment where you're taking thoughts and you're kind of pouring them into a petri dish and you're seeing what comes of it. Your thoughts, the other person's thoughts, you're kind of working them out. That's the goal of the argument, truth. Second, you got to listen. You've got to listen to what the other person is saying. Actually saying. Not just waiting for the moment where you get to talk, but actually listening. Because then you can come to understand where that person is coming from. Why they might believe what they believe. Whether what they believe is right or wrong or true or false, you at least know where they're coming from. So your response can be measured. It can fit the situation and the circumstance. I recently had a conversation online with someone who said, I don't even know why we're talking, because I'm never going to convince you of what I believe, and you're never going to convince me of what you believe, so what's the point? And I thought, it's the end of the world as we know it, and I don't feel very good. Because if I can't have a conversation with someone with whom I might fundamentally disagree on something really important, well, we're just going to live in our safe spaces and our silos, and we're never going to come to a greater knowledge of the truth. So take an opportunity to talk to someone with whom you disagree, but seek the truth and listen and play by the rules. Give them an opportunity to explain where they're coming from, and ask them, and this is probably number 3 of the rules, to define their terms. Ask them what they mean by the things that they're saying. Because what you mean by love might not mean what I mean by love. And what you mean by marriage might not be what I mean by marriage. And whatever you think about love and whatever you think about marriage, the point is, if you're not using the same word in the same way, you might as well be solving different math equations. So there's so much more I could say about that. But in light of everything that's going on in politics, in the media, in our silos, in the way that we live and interact, it's nice when we can come together and have conversations with people with whom we disagree, with the goal ultimately of coming to the truth. Let that always be our goal. The truth in charity. Thanks so much. God bless. We'll talk to you soon.